Hi everyone, this is Adam Hops with the National Operations Center of Excellence. Thanks for joining today's webinar. I'm joined by Chuck Yorks of Gannett Fleming. We're going to walk everybody through the plans for Traffic Incident Response Week, try and encourage more activities from those who've joined us and let you know what you can do to participate. We're going to get started in about 3 to 4 minutes, let some more folks join us. So hang tight and we'll get started here in about 3 minutes. Thanks so much. All right, everyone, this is Adam Hops from the National Operations Center of Excellence. We're going to go ahead and get started here. A few folks might join us, but we'll keep to our regularly scheduled time. If you haven't seen one of our webinars before that we've been doing around Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week, we've been trying to reach out to people about how they can participate in this second annual Traffic Incident Awareness Week, and happy to support the work that FHWA and Gannett Fleming are doing to lead this effort. Before I turn it over to Chuck Yorks, I just wanted to let everybody know that your phone will be muted throughout, but we'd love to take questions down there in the question box on the side, so please feel free to ask them. Also, we have a TIM week page on the National Operations Center of Excellence that provides resources, and then the TIM network has a page as well that has even more. So I'll post those in the chat box. Be sure to check out the TIM network page, and then check out the page on our website that has some of the past webinars to help you plan for any events that you might want to do. Feel free to reach out after this webinar to Chuck Yorks or myself for any information, and be sure to let us know what you're doing, which is something that I'm sure Chuck is going to bring up here shortly. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Chuck Yorks.
Thanks very much, Adam, and glad to have those of you with us live here today, and those who will join us in viewing and or listening to the recorded webinar that we're doing today. Again, this is, I believe, our fifth monthly webinar leading up to November 13th to 19th, our 2017 Traffic Incident Response Week, which concludes with United Nations and World Health Organization World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims, and that is November 19th, the final day. Challenges to traffic operations. We're all involved in some way or another at one or many of these challenges: work zones, weather, signals, bottlenecks, transportation system demand and special events, and then the traffic incident, which causes problems in addition to all of the normal things that we do, and problems specific to location, to the clearance issues and response that's available, and to maintaining our responder safety that is uppermost in our minds. This week, we've talked about calling responders and drivers to action. Throughout this, we've kind of used a theme of we're all in this together to try to say this isn't just a responder-focused effort. This is not just a DOT-focused effort. This is an effort that recognizes the fact that we are all in this together. At some point, we've talked about a couple of things, and that is that a motorist's response is as important as the response of the DOT and the fire and the police and the towing and the hazmat and emergency medical folks, that it's a combined effort to make sure that our motorists remain safe, and if they remain safe, there's a greater likelihood that we can keep our responders safe. As far as DOTs and organizations that are involved, like yourselves, TIM Network and National Operations Center do have toolkit items. Adam mentioned it just before. TIMnetwork.org. And there's a Traffic Incident Response Week tab there. And then transportationops.org is the AASHTO NOCoE website. So we're asking that whatever you can do, if you're not already planned, that you're engaging your communities, the responders, the public safety professionals, motorists, and community leaders in getting things done. Specifically, we've got a 7-day period where we can focus our attention, and today we're going to talk a little bit about what's already planned, and some ideas. All along we've said, okay, at a month out, if people haven't planned something, let's just talk briefly about the kinds of events that can be planned, that go beyond just putting DMS messages up about safety that we do all the time. I believe Jim Ostrich from FHWA is with us today, and FHWA is involved directly in planning a media type event November 15th in our nation's capital. And Jim, if you are on, if you'd like to give any details of that, I'd appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Chuck. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, briefly, first, great job to you and the team there, spreading the word. We're approximately a little under 4 weeks away from game day. And as Chuck mentioned, along with all the states that are doing various activities, Federal Highway is also planning an event. There's been some last-minute potential changes to what I have reported up to now, in that the event was, was originally going to occur at US DOT headquarters in front of the main entrance, and then it got kicked over to RFK Stadium, Memorial Stadium, old home of the Washington Redskins. And because things are always dynamic in the world of, just events management and whatnot. The Secretary of Transportation, Office of the Secretary of Transportation, has requested that I bring it back to headquarters. So I just wanted to put that out there that it's still a tentative and dynamic situation as far as the venue, but we'll know here in the next week or so, finally nail it down, if you will, whether it'll occur at RFK or indeed back at USDOT headquarters. So similar to many of the events that you all are planning, the stakeholders, all the stakeholders involved in traffic incident response, traffic incident management, will be in attendance. We all need to take advantage, as Chuck has said, and we should recognize that this is a huge opportunity for us to bring attention to responder safety and congestion mitigation and all the benefits that are derived from good TIM programs. Of course, the training, and a variety of vehicles and whatnot for the backdrop, if you will, around a podium. First time I've been visualizing this for a while, because the entrance to the USDOT headquarters, if you haven't been there, it's really impressive, the main entrance there on New Jersey Avenue. And I'm planning to close the road. If it all does come back to headquarters, I'm planning to close New Jersey Avenue between M Street and Tingy, so we'll have the entire roadway from curb to curb dedicated to the event. So a couple of ladder trucks hoisting or displaying an American flag over the podium, and along with all the other response vehicles and response professionals, along with quite a few high-level officials, hopefully the Secretary, number one, followed by our administrators at Federal Highway, and then, of course, state police colonels and fire chiefs and DOT directors and so on and so forth. So there's going to be a little bit more information disseminated regarding that here soon in official invitations. But I just want to share with you, how excited we are about this. And again, I can't underscore enough the importance of it, because if we're able to get the media attention that this deserves and that you all deserve in your states. I know it's tough in the world today of social media, but the old traditional media folks actually coming out to do interviews and things like that, we're also planning to do as well. Hopefully interview a couple of responders that have been struck and in some fashion, and live to tell their story and talk about the importance of the TIM training. So with that, Chuck, I again thank you and look forward to National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Thank you, sir.
What can you do? I guess that's our question today. And this is a slide that's kind of modified from past webinars, but the fact is, get involved. We're looking for energy. We're looking for local activities, statewide activities. If you have organized traffic incident management teams, use that forum to plan and exchange ideas. If you've got something going on between now and then, make sure you take an opportunity and say, hey, you know what? November 13th and 19th is Traffic Incident Response Week. Is there anything we can do? We've had the planning calls and the webinars so far, and we're pretty much done with those things. But sharing what you are doing is important right now, so we can kind of call a little bit of attention to that and join. But the fact is, that's your event that goes to your community. So whatever you do makes sense. We really would like you to be sharing whatever you do post-event, so that we can collect a little bit better and we've done as much as we could to talk about what's been done in the past through our previous webinars. And again, you can take a look at any of those previous webinars. We are pretty much under an hour every time. Those previous webinars are available on the NOCoE page under their Knowledge Center and their online learning. So what are others doing? Public service announcements are the kinds of things that we're all involved in kind of as a normal routine. We'll see afterward if there was anything that was definitely generated for this event that is different from our continuing public service messages that we do. Use of social media, more important every year. I've already started tweeting some things, and John Giannotti with Texas DOT in the San Antonio region, he's decided that he's going to continue to retweet. So the social media creation and retweeting of Twitter messages and Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is that you have decided to use is important in that we continue to share information. Media events are terrific. Kind of like Jim was saying, if we can get media to the event, we can reach more people for a campaign that truly is one-to-one and one driver at a time. But media events allow us to do lots of things and show more people. Ride-alongs are terrific, whether it's with safety service patrols, tow truck drivers, fire departments, police agencies, whatever that is. Ride-alongs are important, and people are planning ride-alongs. When they can't get the ride-along, tweet-alongs. Particularly in the Midwest, we're hearing about a lot of tweet-along activity. The tweet-along is when you ride and update folks kind of live, whether it's a tweet-along. You could actually also use a Facebook Live approach that is being considered in a couple of places. Traffic Incident Management Conference and meetings that are that week. In particular, Colorado DOT is hosting a statewide Traffic Incident Management Conference at the beginning of that week. Minor league hockey sponsorship. Sports sponsorships and special event sponsorships are an opportunity that we may not be using as effectively as we could. Pennsylvania Turnpike has decided to invest some of their monies this year in sponsorship of the Hershey Bears minor league hockey team. Terrific minor league hockey team. And they're going to get from that sponsorship at every event some kind of notice. Talking about reaching 500,000 folks, they picked 4 specific events where they're going to have display equipment outside and have tables inside so that they can reach in that one-to-one, face-to-face kind of thing and deliver the message, the basic message that we need people to slow down and move over in work zones and in our traffic incident management areas. Message sign campaigns, everyone does them. Everyone does them a little differently. Some people are seasonal. Some people are Message Monday, for lack of a better term. Safety Message Monday ideas. We would just ask that you make sure that keeping motorists safe and responders safe is part of your DMS message campaign. Website focuses. Some states have said that they're going to make sure that their state website has that traffic incident management focus or special attention that week. Great idea. Sharp 2 training. The only one I'm specifically aware of is one that I'm going to be attending. The City of Pittsburgh Traffic Incident Management Team, very successful within the past year in formation and 40 or 50 folks at each of the first 2 meetings. As an outgrowth of that, there's a Sharp 2 training, regional Sharp 2 training, probably a big class that's being hosted by a local fire department near Pittsburgh International Airport. In-person surveying. This is something I'm going to do myself. I've committed to trying to do a rest area survey, face-to-face talking. May not be wide-reaching, but I think it'll probably be a pretty good idea. So if you're in southern New York State or Pennsylvania, you can look for the guy in the vest who's asking questions. And Arizona's talking about actually kicking off their TIM website and drawing attention to it during that week. Arizona's got a robust program planned. So that's kind of an outlook of what some people, others are doing as reported to us. And the folks who've told us what they're doing right now, many are represented here. We've got good reach nationwide, and we know that there are other states and organizations, perhaps even on this call, that haven't reported in, that we're not aware of what they're doing right now or haven't coordinated with NOCoE. But we're excited about the fact that we've got lots of folks who've already stepped forward and said, well, this is what we are planning. What can I still plan? I guess that's the other question, the other focus today. What can I still plan if I don't have things planned or I want to add something? Generally speaking, our state DOT partners and state association partners have said we've already got something planned. But our hope is, as Traffic Incident Response Week grows year to year, this becomes driven down to that field level more and more. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Concentrate on focusing your message. Whatever your message is in your community is important. So concentrate on that focus and take a look at what's the most effective outreach venue. For some people, it's going to be major media. Some people, it's going to be social media. In general, most of our public affairs offices are trying to do everything that they can in every venue. But if you have to limit it, figure out what's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Include all disciplines possible every single time. There is value in a DOT holding an event. There is greater value in a DOT holding an event in cooperation with law enforcement and fire and emergency medical and towing, all the partners that we try to get together in our TIM training. So do whatever you can to coordinate. Consider stressing that motorist safety is responder safety, that it works both ways. It's sometimes a hard thing, and it looks hard when you look at it in writing here. Laws don't scare people. People dying scares people. Jim Ostrich talked about focusing on the folks who have been struck and lived to tell the tale. Unfortunately, in this business, that won't happen to me is still an issue. Tell people it's the law, but many states are getting better and better at being a little more blunt and saying, you could die. Many states are now actively saying this is how many deaths we had on our highways, instead of please follow the law. But when you don't follow the law, bad things happen. Tell people what you do and why you do it. This is an education opportunity this week and every day that you've got the opportunity. Tell people what you do and why you do it. When I used to work for the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, my goal was, as a community relations person, my goal was to make sure that the public knew what we were trying to do, so that if they disagreed with us, they were disagreeing from a point of knowledge of what we were trying to do, instead of, well, that doesn't work. Well, we weren't trying to do that, and that's, again, a value of continual interaction with folks. Tell them what you do is about them. Tell them what they do is about you. Again, we're all in this together, and anything that we can do to point out that it isn't the safety of workers, but the safety of all people that we care about. So those are ideas about how you may want to approach the thinking as you plan something new. What can I still plan? There are more details on and ideas for this if you want to share these with other people in that toolkit that, again, is available to you through the NOCoE website and the timnetwork.org. Invite people over. Host an open house. In Northern Virginia, we know that on, I believe, November 11th, there's going to be an open house which can draw attention to the week to come and that continued message. Open houses are great opportunities to get communities into your organization. If you don't do it during the week, continue to let people know. There was a Western Pennsylvania, I believe it was Western Pennsylvania, firehouse that held an open house as they normally do during October, a normal time for fire departments to do it. But for the first time, I believe this year, because they'd had someone struck, there was a special part of that display about traffic incident response and safe driving in those work zones and response zones. So it's a good opportunity. Exercise, especially exercises that are conducted in large spaces that are more public. whether it's a mall parking lot, at a school, whatever else, and those small exercises and examples, if you can get media attention to that, that can help spread the word. Talk it out, as simple as being a speaker at a school or a service club. Most communities, and this isn't something you can approach necessarily from a state DOT level, but what if in every community, either Kiwanis or Lions or Rotary had a speaker talking about traffic incident response during this week? Not all of them necessarily, but at least one of them. Ask them if they need a speaker and say, yeah, I'm glad to take part of that. Mock crash scenes, they seem to be done nationwide. There's a greater impetus for doing these things in the spring around prom season, and are usually students against driving drunk or MAD groups. But mock crash scenes almost always make good visuals and are useful sometimes in not just talking about the effect of bad driving decisions, but allow you to demonstrate what safe driving looks like in a crash scene. And training, schedule specific Sharp 2 training. There's still time to do a responder safety, 10 responder training class. If you haven't planned one yet, there's still plenty of time to do that in the near future. Let's share just a few things and just a few ideas. No one has told us of a specific plan for World Day of Remembrance. More than 40 countries actively involved. They believe that last year there were over 100 countries that actually participated and did something. But the World Day of Remembrance is about road traffic victims. We're all in this together. It's been around for a long time, and America's getting more and more involved in it. Last year, the CDC led part of the effort in Georgia, and obviously around the nation with Facebook and Twitter notifications, and there was a gathering walk in the Atlanta area. In Portland, the number of folks who had died was marked with a pair of shoes. Footprints marked the areas where they expected people to die based upon historic trends. Responders and victim families were part of that. Powerful stuff that talks about the need not just for traffic incident response, but overall motorist and driver safety. And in New York Bicycling Coalition took the lead last year and did a rally and bike ride on Long Island. At this point, we really are still interested very much in hearing from any of you who haven't reported in. And if you go to transportationops.org, tell us how you're honoring Traffic Incident Response Week. We're trying to figure out a way for you to share that information with us now, and then share it with us after you do the events, so that we can build a more robust kind of a report card on what we've done and get ready for next year. As we build toward the week, we thank you all for caring, for sharing what it is you do, and for wearing. And yeah, that's me in a traffic management center. And that's a wrinkly vest, but it is a vest. So here's something I'm suggesting to everyone within the sound of my voice right now. Is it something you can do, whether you do it or not? Wear your vest every day, all week. A person wearing a vest in a non-incident related environment will raise people's awareness and invariably will allow you to answer the question, well, why are you wearing your vest? We wear our vests to be visible, be seen at the scene, to give one more clue to drivers and to other responders that we are there. So my pledge is to do my part by wearing my vest every day all week. Adam?
Chuck, thank you so much for this presentation, and I encourage everybody to also look at the 4 presentations that Chuck and FHWA previously led in this series that are focused on specific disciplines and modes. Please be sure to take a look at those. They're available on the NOCoE website on Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week page. I want to give 1 second here for folks to, if you have any questions, be sure to write them down there in the bottom. If there's any questions that come in, I know many of you have been attending these webinars for the past four webinars before this one, and we thank you for your involvement and thank you for your dedication to joining us in this 2nd annual National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week. Again, take a look, as Chuck said, take a look at the resource pages if you haven't already. The toolkit for working during this week is on the TIM Network page, and be sure to let us know what you're doing. NOCoE would love to promote any activities that you're doing and coordinate any local agencies with any activities that you're doing, so feel free to let us know. There's the form that Chuck said, or email works just fine. It doesn't look like there's any specific questions coming in, so I think we'll end with that fantastic picture of Chuck and the TMC. Be sure to share this with your friends. The recording will be available later today, and let your friends in other agencies know about the resources that are available. And thank you again to everybody for joining. Have a great day.